Hello all, my name is Sam, or Samuel, whichever you prefer, and welcome to my attempt at a Pokemon X version Canines only hardcore Wolflock challenge. So after doing 2 back-to-back Switch titles, I decided to go back in time a bit, back to the DS era. X and Y have always been some of my favorite games, and despite obvious flaws with the difficulty, or lack thereof, the diversity of the decks is super awesome, and my casual plays in the past always had wildly different team compositions, which, in my opinion, is a great sign. I stared at my types list for a little while before ditching the monologue and opt for more of a theme type run. I tried considering which animals are most common in the Pokemon universe, and landed on dogs. So I pulled up a list of every single Pokemon, and did a mixture of Google searching and Bulbapedia searching to make sure they fell under the Canine family. I kept seeing foxes show up in the list of canines, and not actually sure, verified that, while cat-like, foxes fall under the Canine family. And I wasn't going to argue that, since it opened up a bunch more choices. Now that I had a list of every Pokemon that I could tell were eligible, I started searching regions, dex by dex, and from what I can tell, X had the most diverse list of options in the pre-Switch generations. And on the flip side, Y has the most felines. With that said, you can expect a feline opposite to this video next week. Anyway, here are my Kalos encounters. Manectric is a Y exclusive, and after Houndoom decimated in Shining Pearl, I chose X to get the Houndour exclusive. I'll be using my standard rule set, which I'll post in the description, as well as a fun new sheet I made that goes over it in detail. That'll be down below as well. But the rules are basically as follows. First eligible encounter per route is my only encounter. Fated Pokemon must be euthanized. Game mode on set. No items or dog treats in battle. Held items are fine. No overleveling past the next gym. Mega Evolution no. So with all the establishing established, let's see how it went. English, boy, dark hair whitey, Samuel. For now. Hot professor. 3DS be doing 3DS. I remember being quite impressed, but now it just feels like a flex. Mom assures me that despite the folk I see at Walmart, I can't be traipsing about in my PJs. My bestest friends in the whole world who I just met ask me to choose my nickname. So I tell them how it's going to be. Luckily, for the first time in my challenge runs, I'm able to use a starter. I name him Fennec Fox because, that's what he is. Now, I thought Galar was handholdy with a level 6 stab move, but Kalos straight up starts you with stab, so Shauna was barely worth mentioning. But she did address me with the respect I deserve. I make my way to Route 22, where Riolu is just waiting to eat up all my time. It's really cool though. I'm like 5 levels higher, and Riolu kills Fennec. So, time for attempt 2. Attempt 2. The required fight before Riolu's grass. Tail whips me 100 times and kills Fennec. Attempt 3. I match the level cap and handily dispatch her. I catch Riolu this time and name him Jackal. Apparently Lucario is based on Anubis, who's based on the Jackal, which, again, Canine. After about an hour of training and running around, thinking maybe I can get Lucario with relatively little effort, I take on the gym. But level 12 hits, Riolu stays baby, and ends up dying. This ends attempt 3. Attempt 4, I catch Jackal and decide to take my time and get him up to Lucario before Gym 1. This is no small feat. I move Jackal to the head of the party, with one hand of my game controller moved up and down, and the other hand punched the super training bag for the soothing bag random drops. At the same time, I grind up Jackal's attack EVs, knowing his steel typing helps with the defense organically. Every once in a while, I would bump him up a level to see if I hit the friendship requirements. And after 12 soothing bags and about 2 hours of non-stop running, I learned that Riolu can only evolve during the day, and it was 10 PM for me. So I had probably hit the friendship limit a long time ago. I make it to Viola, with my fully evolved Lucario who beyond loves me at this point. I considered leading with Fennec, but Surskit has Bubble, which can cause trouble. Surskit does 7 damage, while 4 quick attacks take it out, with Viola heal stalling in the middle there. When Vivillon comes out, it's much tankier than Surskit, and takes 5 quick attacks to kill. Still, no problem whatsoever. Badge 1 obtained, and Pokemon up to level 30 will obey me, which is really the only reason I wanted the badge in the first place, obviously. These doors give me return, which for Jackal is going to be essential, until he gets better moves at least. Professor Sycamore gives me a quick battle, and I snatch up my box fodder. And before I can box this disgusting non-dog, this pioneer of industry Lysander graces me with an introduction. Seems like a real swell guy. I will be both devastated and shocked if he turns out to be anything other than the stand-up guy he's presented himself as so far. I name my dead box Cat's Rule, and drop off Bulbasaur in there. I meet Karina and she tells me that Lucario really likes me. Thanks. I already knew that. I'm a Lucario magnet, which would make me like a regular magnet, since, the steel typing. Fennec and Jackal stomp some Pika clones, and Fennec gets bigger. After that, I can now snatch up my next encounter on Route 5, Furfrou, who I named Poodle, since that's what she's based on. I'm bringing name creativity to a new level this run. Furfrou has Fur Coat, which doubles defense. Unlike Medichamp's Pure Power from the Pearl run, I immediately make use of this ability, instead of just at the Elite Four. I slog my way through the absolute time waste of Parfum Palace. I want to call it perfume, but Google tells me no. Daytime fireworks? My next encounter is right after the Grumpylax, a Smeargle who I named Beagle. I run to the hotel, just to hang out. Next thing you know, 3 weeks have passed, and the maid I've been hanging out with wants to trade an Eevee. Beagle would have just sat in the box, so at least this maid will take care of her better than me. Next is one of the shining features of Kalos, Rhyhorn riding. Now, don't get me wrong, riding forward is fun, but reversing is an absolute delight. I head off to Grant's gym with Jackal blazing a trail. He gets dangerously close to the level limits, so I turn the EXP share off, which is a feature all the games need. Load Poodle up with Rock Smash, demolish him with Defense, HP, and Special Defense EVs, and run off to do some light training. While training, I find a Thunderstone. Absolute win. Jolteon is my all-time favorite Pokemon, and I'm thrilled to use it in a run. Route 10 also has 3 different encounters available. Luckily, I purposefully snatched up Eevee before this, so they're off the table. And this is the only place I can find a Snubbull and Houndour. If I'm being honest, I was hoping for Houndour, since I don't have any fire coverage available. But alas, I pick up Snubbull and name her Bulldog. While working my way up to Grant, I get into this battle accidentally, and Onyx traps Poodle with Bind, and while paralyzed gets her down to 14 HP when she finally busts through and takes it out. That's way too close. Even after training up Poodle for Grant, Jackal is really all I need. Power Up Punch is absolutely broken, critical one-shots Amora, and with boosts, one-shots Tyron. Listen, I'm having a lot of fun with Kalos, but the gyms are an absolute joke. I think a ROM hack that rebalances the game would be an absolute treat. If you know of any, let me know down below. Karina 2v1s Jackal, but thankfully, Jackal is EV trained and sweeps them like a good boy. After a quick double battle, EXP share helps evolve Bulldog to Granbull. I've never used a Granbull before, so I'm still not sure of her viability. While fumbling through Reflection Cave, I start to really feel Fur Coat's usability. Even with Poodle's normal typing, she's able to tank through fighting opponents. I think that's what the kids are calling epic drip. I lighted this old man 4 times in a row. Almost convinced him. While battling through Karina's gym trainers, Throw sends Jackal down to 2 HP with a Storm Throw, after I forget for the millionth time that Lucarios can't stand up to fighting. Against Karina, I lead with Bulldog to have at least one member who resists her team. I've buffed up Bulldog's HP and defense EVs and try and tank my way through weakening Mienfoo. I charm Mienfoo down and send in Jackal to set up +6 with Swords Dance, and then do some quick calcs, measure the Mienfoo's remaining HP. I check the weather outside and the planet alignment, and my horoscope says that now is my chance. So I press return 3 times and win the battle. Next is actually weirdly one of my favorite moments of the run. I take Karina's Lucario on in a Mega Evolution battle. Now, since I'm not Mega Evolving, I just had to know, was this possible? I see that the Lucario I'm using is actually faster than the Mega Lucario, so I can get a single Bone Rush off before going down. And the first few attempts I realized with 2 or 3 crits and 5 hits in a row, I could probably do this. So I rematch Karina 57 times, and when I finally do it, she marvels at what a good trainer I am, but demands I do it again, but more poorly. The Lucario stares at me intently. I stare back. We share a moment, then I walk away. I've already got a heckin' good Barker with Jackal. Honestly, there's really not a lot to do between now and the next gym, so I just head right over. It's gonna be a real challenge. 2 Embers wipe out Jumpluff, who in the process took Fennec down pretty low with some acrobatics. I bring Poodle out against Go-Go. She eats up a Bulldoze like vitamins. I bring him down to just a hair over half with a return. Worried if I drop another return, he's gonna heal, I go for a bite, and then take it out the following turn with another return, which in turn brings Weepinbell out, and during that first turn, a single return is enough to wipe it out. I bust up Team Flare's desert hideout. Clement is usually the first real challenge of this game, but I've poured over his team and movesets and come up with a pretty good strategy. Of course, the plan is thrown out the window as I lead Fennec Fox against Emolga and go and try and land an Ember, but Volt Switch brings Magnetron out, which was unfortunate for Clement, and Magnetron loses over half health. Fennec Fox outspeeds the next turn and takes the Magnetron down. Heliolisk comes out next and lands a nasty thunderbolt, but I'm able to set up a light screen before swapping over to Jackal, who can take advantage over Heliolisk's weird split normal typing with a power-up punch. Heliolisk nearly goes down and brings Jackal under half, but now I've locked Clemon into potioning, and Jackal keeps getting good. And when a Mogul comes back out, a single return wipes it out. With a voltage badge obtained, it's time to trudge through story garbage. Professor Daddy tells me to go see Lysander at his flare-themed cafe. Still not sus. After my socks get absolutely soaked while wading through the swamp, I track mud all through the dollhouse, and with Jackal loaded up with poison jab, I feel pretty good about my chances. Against Valerie, I sword stance 3 times, while only losing 28 HP to a few lame crunches. Power-up punch isn't quite enough to one-shot the Maywile because of an Iron Fin she set up, but after Valerie potions up, 2 more punches takes it down. And a poison jab kills Mr. Mime and Sylveon, respectively. Team Flare up to the usual shenanigans in the ball factory. Excuse me? I'm the only one allowed to shenanigize balls. You'll notice I'm skipping commentary on nearly every battle in this entire game, and that's not by accident. It's merely because my doggo choices are just too overpowered, making this particular run feel like a cakewalk. As of writing the script, I haven't started the feline run, which I suspect is going to be far more difficult. After getting my free nuggie, I proceed with more game, and Lysander pops his head in and is all, Mega Evolution is cool. Okay, bye. Team Flare harasses Obama before their leader Daft Punk throws a devil dog at me. That's right, that's a basically accurate sentence. I drop some acid and whoa my way through the 7th gym. Olympia puts up about as much fight as the other leaders. Stevie the Jolteon is actually able to sweep the whole gym with a few thunderbolts, and 1 gambled thunder. Lysander reveals his true intentions. I'm both shocked and devastated. Cafe Note Front is just a front for a Flare hideout? It's really of no consequence though, as Stevie shocks these idiots to death. Lysander then reveals a far more severe actual crime than previous Pokemon organizations have committed to date. He appears to have for realsies kidnapped an elderly man, trapped him in an electrified torture cage, while making him regale his tragic past about losing his best friend. It's terrible stuff. If only I wasn't a child, I'd show him what for. Team Flare Zerosic challenges me to a battle. Zerosic sounds like the medication he's been skipping to keep his iron deficiency in check. Then a giant thing pops out of Geosinge Town. Since none of my darling canines can learn fly, and I have the stupid self-imposed rules of no HM Mons, I have to on foot make my way to Geosinge. After assessing the map for a few moments, I decided the shortest walk would be through the southern route. And a funny story, these f***ers are blocking the path for reasons, I guess? So I take the scenic route back to Lumio City, just to take the northern route. I finally make it there, just in time for Lysander to be menacing. I can't be bothered to look up Xerneas' typing, so I just huck a Master Ball and name it Canine, with an X. Because it's clearly a dog, and clearly deserves a spot on my team. Not really. Lysander, figuring that his crimes, haircut, and general attitude didn't scream villain enough, puts on a bunch of junk and challenges me to another battle. Unfortunately, capturing Canine means that they're at the head of my party for some reason, so I switch over to Fennec, who would have been my lead, meaning Mienshao gets a free swords dance. I'm super devastated, clearly. With Mienshao and Pyroar both taken care of with relative ease, Honchkrow comes out, who Fennec cannot stack up against. So I swap over to Stevie, hoping to be able to quickly take care of the Gyarados as well in the back. He takes a nasty Night Slash, but is able to quickly retaliate with a Thunderbolt and kill. I feel pretty confident against Gyarados, but make the biggest mistake of the run. Gyarados loses flying when they Mega Evolve, and I no longer have the 4x advantage, and Thunderbolt fails to one-shot, and pays for my ignorance when an Earthquake kills him. Poodle comes in, and a quick return ends the battle. A pipe above my head bursts. I barely save my laptop, but unfortunately my face is soaked, particularly under my eyes. I want to go back to the previous save and try the battle again. I would keep my favorite Pokemon on the team, and no one would know. Wrong, Sam. You would know. You would know. Needing a pick-me-up, I head over to Fry-Shire 4-Fro to get Poodle or Airdead. I get lost for a while trying to figure out where to go, and this leg of the journey gets a weird difficulty spike. And then Professor Daddy Sorry Sycamore throws Kanto's finest against me, without me being quite prepared. Jackal has since learned close combat though, so 2 swords dances and 2 returns in close combat sweep through the battle. Phew, at least there's no more non-league difficulties to face. So I run into this back-to-back battle by accident on the bridge. Shauna takes Fennec, Poodle, and Jackal down pretty low, so I'm going into Tierno looking pretty bad. Luckily, against Talonflame, Fennec pulls an epic Pogger's Clutch critical psychic trip. It's a pretty good psychic, but Crawdaunt does have the same typing as Greninja, who was purposefully designed to be the polar opposite to Delphox, so I have to swap over to Bulldog, who has the advantage against Dark. A play rough brutalizes Crawdaunt, and I'm thinking it's crab for dinner. When Roserade comes out, I take the gamble and swap over to Fennec, who goes down to 15 from a Petal Dance. Luckily, Fennec outspeeds and a Flamethrower ends the battle, where thankfully the real MVP, Trevor, heals my team up. I repay this kindness with a mercifully quick battle. Now, if you look at my research notes for this run, you'll see I have a big fat no next to the name Zoroark, because I, for some reason, thought that the Pokemon Village came after the Elite Four, so I was convinced my team was sitting at 4 for the rest of the run. So you can imagine my surprise when I just stroll into the Pokemon Village and see Zoroark abound. Fun thing here though is I had sold all of my Pokeballs thinking my encounters were exhausted. So I run back to the Poke Center, grab up like 10 Ultra Balls, run back to the Pokemon Village and catch my final team member, a Zoroark, who I named Kitsune, or Kitsune, who they're based off of from Japanese folklore. I make my way through the Osha Nightmare of Wulfric's Gym, hit A 3 times in a row, and I'm off to Victory Road. Victory Road is likely the most difficult leg of the game thus far, but I'm able to make it through relatively unscathed. A couple of close calls, but nothing to write home about. I get the whole team up to 65 except for Kitsune, who I just gave up grinding on, ready to just call this run good. I stroll into the illustrious Hall of the Championships with the following team. Poodle, the naughty Furfrou with Fur Coat. Jackal, the rash Lucario with Inner Focus. Fennec Fox, the naive Delphox with Blaze. Kitsune, the careful Zoroark with Illusion. And Bulldog, the impish Grand Bull with Quick Feet. While the gym challenge was the easiest I've experienced so far, the Elite Four challenge is actually, well, a challenge. I take on Malva and her weirdly photoshopped on glasses first, for no other reason than the door was right there. Pyroar comes out against Poodle, and Poodle 2-shots with a couple surfs while taking little under half from a Hyper Voice. Talonflame comes out and shaves off about a quarter with Brave Bird before losing about half to Surf. I lead Poodle in and gamble a crit to take it out with another Surf. Poodle goes down to 7 HP, but when Torkoal comes out, I know I'll outspeed the turtle and do a U-turn over to Fennec Fox, who I hope will be pivoting into a fire move. Unluckily enough, Torkoal opts for an Earthquake and brings Fennec down to a little over a third. A Mind Plate boosted Psychic wipes out the Torkoal, but Chandelure has the type advantage, so I switch over to Kitsune, disguise as Bulldog, not that it really matters, and takes a Shadow Ball. Night Slash kills Chandelure, but burns Kitsune in the process, which is non-consequential as I full restore between rounds, and the match is over. Seabolt is next, and despite not EV training Bulldog's Spatak at all, I have him loaded up with Thunderbolt. Clawitzer takes less than half, and Bulldog takes nasty damage from Water Pulse. I then click what I should have just stuck with, and a Play Rough wipes out Cannon Claw. Gyarados comes out next, and not even considering that he would outspeed, I go for a 4x Thunderbolt after it Dragon Dances. Things are much more spoopy now. So I swap to Jackal, who takes crazy hard damage from Waterfall, but an extreme speed retaliation kills, and brings out Barbaracle, but a close combat kills it. Starmie comes out, and since Psychic resists fighting, I bring Kitsune out under the guise of Poodle. She isn't affected by the incoming Psychic, and a Night Slash the next turn kills Starmie after it breaks the illusion and brings Kitsune down to 83. With the E4 half down, Wickstrom is up next. I lead Fennec against the incoming Klefki, who gets off annoying spikes, but goes down to a single Flamethrower. When Probopass comes out, I bring Jackal onto the field and he takes a super unimpressive Power Gem. I throw a Power-Up Punch since he has 30, Earth Power brings Lucario down pretty low, and I use the next 3 turns to keep Power-Up Punching through Wickstrom's healing and sturdy. With Jackal buffed up, a single Shadow Claw wipes out Aegislash, who luckily didn't go for a King Shield. Last up is Sizor, who just doesn't stand a chance against a close combat. Last up is Drasna, and after a quick light screen and a super weak Surf, Dragalge goes down to a single Psychic. Altaria comes out, and since I just can't be bothered to look up her moveset and see that she doesn't have any physical moves, drop a Will-O-Wisp. This prevents a clean kill, and after a few back and forths, Fennec is put to sleep, so I pivot over to Bulldog, who rejects the Dragon Pulse, sweats a Moonblast off like it wasn't even shit, and a Play Rough sinks Altaria's HP. Noivern avoids a Play Rough and lives in the red the next turn. Bulldog, entirely unamused with this, lands a crit afterwards. Last up is Big Baddie Druddigon, but Rough Skin seems to just tickle Bulldog as another Play Rough demolishes. With all those jumps out of the way, it's time to either an Elixir out my team and take on Diantha. Fennec is a great opener against Hawlucha. Even super effective, X-Scissor is laughable, and a single psychic kills. Tyrantrum comes out, and I actually check the moveset. I see Earthquake, which is less than ideal, but a Will-O-Wisp should help stifle that damage. So Tyrantrum kills Fennec with a head smash. Jackal, God of the Dead, comes out to avenge his oldest companion. Power-Up Punch barely fails to kill, and Jackal is taken to 46 with an Earthquake, but this match is won now. Diantha heals Tyrantrum as I go for another Power-Up Punch and takes him down to about a 4th health, and Jackal is jacked with speed EVs, so I outspeed the next turn and get the +3 attack. Gudra comes out next, and a close combat puts the Poison Dragon to sleep. Wait, just Dragon. Just pure Dragon type. That always seemed weird to me. I know I'll take a defense hit for that, but at this point, Jackal is too fast and too strong to need to worry about such petty things. Aurorus comes out, and another close combat. Oh no, Ghost. Just kidding. Shadow Claw. Gardevoir is up last, and despite having the Mega Cheat evolution up her sleeve, Shadow Claw can still one-shot, and with that, my puppies have done it. A mono something hardcore Nuzlocke completed from start to finish. I really want to thank you for coming on this journey with me. After the non-restricted run of Shining Pearl, it was a ton of fun going back to a specialty run. Even if Lucario wasn't able to basically solo most of the game, it was still insanely easy. We'll see how the Feline only run will go. I can't wait to keep providing this type of content for all of you. If there's anything you ever want to see, just leave it down below in the comments, and I'll do whatever I can. And hopefully if you enjoyed this video, I'll see you in the next one.